kind of give you an idea of kind of what I'm doing. I'm starting right there at the parking lot, and I'm gonna head this direction on the Cedar Chopper Loop, and then hop over here on the Dogleg Canyon Trail and head down by the river. And from there, haven't really decided yet, but I'll determine once I get there exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm definitely gonna end up at some point down here by the Spicewood Springs Trail, because that's where all the spring-fed pools are to swim in, and it's going to be pretty hot today, probably mid 90s. So that's the plan for now, and let's get to it. Saw a ton of deer on my way in, a couple pretty nice bucks too. Hoping to see some wildlife on this trip. Normally I'm walking too fast, heading to a certain destination to really appreciate what all's around me. But I don't really have any goals for this trip. I just got out to get out. Tired of sitting at home, so hopefully I can slow down and we'll see something cool together. This is a nice shady spot under this big oak. I've been hiking in a little bit of shade just because of the angle of the sun right now, but I can tell it's going to get really hot really quick. Headed to my first junction with the Dogleg Canyon Trail. And never been on this section of trail before. Excited to see what it's like. See if it's actually a canyon or they just named it that for something cool to name it. Well, this must be the canyon part of Dogleg Canyon. Pretty impressive. Fairly decent drop off down there. It'd be really cool to see some water running out of here. It's kind of unexpected. There's a pretty nice break spot right before you get to this canyon. And I could tell either I was coming to the canyon or getting close to the river. And I didn't think I'd be to the river yet, so this was a nice little surprise. And a really pretty spot. This would be an awesome spot to stop and take a break. Some houses down there on the other side of the river. So the river is just right in front of those houses, but farther down. All right, so I just came down this big hill right here. Came off the ridge I was on and made it to the junction with the river trail. And I'm gonna take this up 1.4 miles in this direction until I get to the Lemon Pass or Lemon Ridge, something like that, trail, and I'm going to take that over toward the Spicewood area. The river, Colorado River, is down that way, and should get some views of it, I would think, from this trail. But hopefully we got lots of shade on this trail down here close to the river. Cool it off just a little bit. It's just after 10 a.m. And so I did about 2 miles an hour, including stopping to video and set my camera up and things like that. So not too bad so far. About 30 seconds from where I just was. There's the first shot of the river. It looked like there's a pretty decent amount of water in it. I know there's some shallower spots over closer to the campground. And another added bonus is I'm on this sandy trail. It's not real loose sand, so it's really nice on my feet. All the trails out here are pretty rocky, so this is definitely a nice break. Found a fairly easy way down just past that bridge I just came across. Thought I'd come down and check out the river. I'm sure I'll cross, or better yet, have a place to come down several other places along this trail, but this is my first good opportunity to get down by the water. And I know it's only about 10:20, 10:30, but it is already getting hot, and there's not a lot of people out at all, and it's really pretty down here. All that right there on the opposite side. That's all private property. And you might can see the rooftops of a couple cabins, houses farther down that way. This river trail, and especially the shade, has been super nice so far. Really enjoying it. Alright, so I made it to the trail junction with the Lemons Ridge Pass, and I had a decision to make. Couldn't decide if I wanted to take that trail or just head behind me to the main campground, which is about a mile from here, and just eat lunch there and then move on to Spicewood area. But I am going to go ahead and do the Lemons Ridge Pass just because I've never done it. That was my original plan, trying to stick to what I came out here to do. So I'm going to try out the Lemons Ridge Pass, then hang a left at I think it's the Spicewood Ridge Trail, go down that way and make my way over to the Spicewood Spring Pools, eat lunch somewhere in there. It's about 11:15 I think, and eat lunch and swim for a while. Made it to the junction with the Spicewood Canyon Trail, and I'm going to take this all the way down close to the river, and it'll connect in with the Spicewood Spring Trail. It'll finally get to cool off. Hopefully we get a little more shade on this trail. I expect that these two trails are fairly popular, so I would imagine we'll pass some people on this trail. Haven't seen anybody up until this point. The Spicewood Canyon Trail, at least up until this point, has been much more shaded than Lemons Ridge or even the last half of the river trail. Went through quite a while, quite a bit of sun. The shade has been super nice. So I was tagged recently in a video by Whole Earth Provisions YouTube channel for the gallon bag challenge, and you may have seen that going around. I'll have a separate video about it, but I wanted to say a couple things about it. One, big props to Colorado Bend State Park or their volunteers, whoever, because their trails have been really clean. Really haven't seen hardly any trash. I purposely waited until I was getting over here closer to the springs where people swim. Pretty much any state park or anywhere you go, anytime people swim, I don't know, they take it upon themselves to leave a bunch of trash behind. So I was able to pick up a little bit so far. I'm not even anywhere near the springs really, still got another 1.5 miles to go. But gonna fill this bag up, and shouldn't be too hard, and I'll either carry it with me the rest of this trip, or if I happen to find a trash can at a trailhead or something, I'll throw it in there. That is a beautiful sight to see and a beautiful sound to hear. That's a Spicewood Spring down there flowing down. A little farther down turns into pools. Closer down to the river, I'll be down there in just a little bit. Spicewood Spring Trail, I believe, is just on the other side of the creek. Once I make it down to the spring, also give me a chance to refill my water from my Sawyer Mini. with me. I got about a ½ liter of water left. I started with 2.5 liters this morning. I'm drinking quite a bit. There's the creek. Pan up just a little bit. That back there in the background, that's Colorado River. Really nice spot. I can hear somebody down there. Hadn't quite seen them just yet. The pools should be right down in that direction. And then whenever I head back on the Spicewood Springs Trail, it'll be down that way. I can see a trail marker from here. Made it down by where the springs dump into the river. I'm gonna walk up this creek and try to find a nice pool to hang out at. So this is just up from that first main pool. That's the one everybody stops at. There are some more good pools a little farther up the trail. This is, I think, where I'm gonna hang out for a while. Got shade. Looks like a natural rock seed under there. Good clear water. Gonna filter a bunch, drink a bunch, and eat lunch right in here. So there's part of my lunch, cooling it off in the creek. Already had the other half of it. Just grabbed whatever I had in the pantry. Trying to do this trip cheap. All right, so I finished my lunch. Found out tuna salad is about the worst thing ever. It was real nasty. I think that'll be the last time I eat any of that. So I am about to camel up. I'm gonna leave here with 3 liters of water. I just drank a ½ liter. I'm about to drink another ½ liter. I'm going to fill that back up, and then I'll walk out of here with about 3 liters. So, a couple of nice pools down below me, and a couple little waterfalls. This area, I mean, Gorman Falls gets all the credit out here, which it deserves a lot because it's a really nice area. Probably the tallest waterfall I've seen in Texas, but this Spicewood Creek, Spicewood Springs, is a really nice area. That ridge across there is the Spicewood Canyon Trail. Comes down that ridge over there, runs along that way and drops down the other side of that big hill right there. Now I'm making my way up the opposite side of the creek. The sky went and got cloudy on me while I was eating lunch, which is perfectly fine with me. Took my sun sleeves off and feeling pretty good right now. Somehow I just made it across that without getting my feet wet at all. Tiny little footholds, and most of them moving around. We'll say this trail, the Spicewood Springs Trail, it would be tough for bringing a young kid. Specifically thinking of like my kids are 5 and 8, and I know my 5-year-old, he'd have a tough time making it through there. There'd be a lot of having to help him out. I definitely think we'd have wet feet. I mean, it's a real pretty trail. I have noticed that farther up the creek, the water gets a little more stagnant looking. I mean, it's flowing, you can hear it, but there are definitely parts of the pools that are kind of gross looking. All right, so I just completed the Spicewood loop or lollipop, and Coming back across to where I've already been, Lemons Ridge Pass. But I'm gonna head the opposite direction on it. My truck's the last one there. A few other cars there this morning when I parked. Probably tell how cloudy it is. Looks dark outside, but only 4 o'clock, maybe a little after. Well guys, thanks for following along out here at Colorado Bend State Park. It was a long hike today. Had a pretty good time, not gonna lie, I'm pretty worn out. Ended up with about 11.5 to 12 miles. And that's pretty good for just getting back into the swing of things. Anyway, thanks again for following along, and we'll see you next time.